Must be the teenagers out there. Hey, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
All right. Yep, must be the teenagers. Could be coming to me, and I don't know.
It's all right.
They're coming. She texted me this morning and asked me. They're coming. So if you make this late, say them Lord put the brakes on y'all that day.
I'm gonna tell you like the preacher said the other night, just take your Bibles and turn anywhere you want. It's all good.
Yep, yep, amen. Yep.
We're gonna be in Jonah again this morning.
Yep.
Jonah chapter 2. We'll start. We're good, let's do. We're still talking about the fugitive. Fugitive. Simple question. Anybody ever been in trouble before? I ain't talking about necessarily just the law. Anybody ever been in trouble before? I know that every day. You over there. Every day. I've seen you in trouble a few times. Oh, this chat. You old damn brother. We've all been in trouble. How many's ever been in trouble with the Lord?
All of us. All of us.
If you hadn't been, you're going to be. So just be prepared. Anytime we're out of the will of God,
Yeah.
we're in trouble.
Yep.
Some people can correct that fairly quickly, save themselves a lot of heartache, and some of us, like me, are a little more hard-headed, and it takes a little more to get our attention. So I can relate to Jonah. We've read that Jonah willingly chose to disobey God. It wasn't something he done out of ignorance. We understand that he was already a prophet of God. God had already used him before. But he had looked on the outer circumstances and decided that he didn't want to do what God had told him to do. And so he disobeyed God. We've also talked about, although he did break the law of disobedience, he also broke that law of compassion. Something that I think the church today lacks. I think I lack. We went to the revival again Friday night. We had 8 of us go. Me and Tammy and Tyler and Hannah and Lisa and Tanner and Daniel. And I just want you to know we had church Friday night. And a lot of my folk got saved. And to sit there in that service and to see people move and see how the families responded because of the person moved. And the one that got me the most, and I was trying to get Tammy's attention, and I ain't been negative. She's too short, she couldn't see over all them people. But I'm looking, and people's just moving everywhere. Going different directions. Some's getting saved, some just asking for help, some praying for other people to be saved. But this boy was broken. And he was about my size, fella, had big tattoos all over his neck and down his arms. And you could tell he was a rough character. If he wasn't, he was sure played it off awful good. But he was broken. He was coming down that aisle, tears was just rolling. And that was bad enough. But then come running behind him was a little boy, about 10 years old. And boy, he was grinning from ear to ear. He was just trucking, trying to catch up with his daddy going down that aisle. I watched another boy about my size get saved, and he hugged everybody, and them rows are some long rows. I mean, there were probably 20 people, and that boy started right here, and he started hugging people. I guess it was his church group or family or something. And I watched him hugging everybody come down through there, just excited. I watched some people behind me, and boy, he got right with the Lord. Don't know if he got saved or if he just got right, but honey, that's having him a spell behind us back here. And that's what church is supposed to be. We're supposed to have compassion for our family members and for our friends, that they'll get saved.
Right. Yeah.
That we go tell people about Jesus. But we can't tell them if we ain't right.
Amen.
We can't tell them if we don't have something to tell. I cannot tell you about how the services are over here at First Baptist in Messenger City because I ain't been there. I can't tell you. I can't tell you how services are at Presbyterian Church, and I ain't never been there. But I've been here. And I know what our services are like. And I'm going to tell you this morning, our church is in trouble. We don't have the compassion that we need to have. You say, oh, we're doing this, Brother Marty. Listen, we don't have the compassion that we need to have. We should have every service, this altar up here, lined with people praying for lost folk. We should have this altar full every morning of people praying for our pastor. And for the deacons of our church. For the leaders of our church. For our family members. For our friends. For our co-workers. For ourselves. Jonah was a man of God. God asked Jonah to do one thing. To go speak to a particular people. Now we went through all that. Jonah ran. He got on a boat. We talked about how the choices that you make not only affect you, but affect those around you. Remember the guys in the boat? They didn't have nothing to do with that calling of God. They weren't involved in that thing at all. But boy, Jonah got them mixed up in the middle of it. And when you get out of the will of God, the actions you take and the words that you say, the things you do, will affect those people around you. And what ends up happening is we feel like that we can fix this ourselves. I can do this. I can handle this. Especially if you've been in church a while. Listen, I know the Word of God. I know how to take care of this situation. But we got some good news this morning. We'll be looking at Jonah chapter 2. Actually, we'll probably just go ahead and read the whole chapter 1 through 10. I've got 9 up there. We'll probably just go ahead and read 10. Eddie, if you don't mind, go ahead and just read the whole chapter, sir.
Then Jonah prayed unto the Lord his God out of his belly, and said, I cried by reason of my affliction unto the Lord, and he heard me. Out of the belly of hell cried I, and thou hearest my voice. But thou hast cast me into the deep, in the midst of the sea, and the floods compassed me about. All thy billows and thy waves passed over me. Then I said, I am cast out of thy sight, yet I will look again toward thy holy temple. The waters compassed me about, even to the soul. the depths closed me round about, and the weeds wrapped around my head. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. The earth with her bars was about me forever. Yet thou hast brought up my life from corruption, O Lord my God. When my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord, and my prayer came unto thee, unto thy holy temple. They that observe lying vanities forsook their own mercy. But I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving. I will pay that I have vowed. Salvation is of the Lord. And the Lord spake unto the fish, and it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land.
Good news. We can pray our way out of trouble. We can pray our way out of trouble. I like this little saying. Bad news is what makes good news so good. Think about that for a minute. Bad news is what makes good news so good. We talked about if every day was a sunny day, what would be a sunny day? You'd have to have some rainy days in there to make the sunny days feel more special. And Jonah is going through a bad day. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation like Jonah. I've been there. Where God allows you to be put in a position where you have no alternative but to turn to Him. You've already tried this, you done tried this, you done tried that, you done worked this, you tried to call this person, you tried to get this done, and nothing works, and you're at the end of your rope. You've done everything you can do within yourself. You called the preacher, you've been anointed with oil, you called the elders, you had the deacons pray for you, you had your mama pray for you, you had your grandma pray for you. You talked to your friends, you talked to your church, the brethren of the church. You done everything you can do, but it still ain't right. And we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. I'm just as guilty. Why is it that we think prayer is the last resort? Prayer should be the first resort. Jonah is in an impossible situation. Verse 2:1 says, chapter 2, verse 1 says, then Jonah prayed. Remember, we looked at that last week. In chapter 1, the sailors are praying. He's sleeping. The captain comes and says, man, pray to your God. We have no record of him ever praying to anybody. The sailors finally start praying to the true God. They're going on, and you can't even get an amen out of it. God took him to the lowest point that he could get. And then Jonah prayed. Then Jonah prayed. The fact that we feel like that we shouldn't have to go through things. And can I say this? Just because you're going through something does not mean God is trying to get your attention for something, but it very well could be. I read this in here somewhere. I don't remember if I highlighted it or what, but I remember reading it yesterday. I was going through some things, and when trouble arises in our lives, the first thing we should do is say, God, there's something in my life that's not making you happy. If it is, I want to know what it is so I can fix it. That should be the first thing we do. God, am I doing something wrong? If not, Lord, I'm going to keep doing it. I'll suffer through it, because Philippians 1:29, for unto you it is given into the behalf of Christ, not only to believe on Him, but also to suffer for His sake. We're going to suffer as Christians. Sometimes we suffer just because of who we are. And then there's times when we're going to suffer because of what we do. This was Jonah's case. God was using what Jonah went through. And we looked at all the things that God did. God could have just as easily struck him down, got him in the water, struck him with lightning, had the boat go down, sink, kill him off, went over here and got another prophet, had him go to Nineveh. God could have done that just as easy as he did. God don't need me. God don't need you. We kind of got that reversed. We feel like it's a privilege to God that I'm coming to church. It's a privilege to God that I'm serving Him. No, it's a privilege to me that I get to serve Him. That's the attitude we should have. And God could have went out here and got anybody He wanted to do this job. But God wanted Jonah to do it. And He, man, look at the stuff He went through to get Jonah just to do this job. This one thing. This one little thing. Go to this one town and preach the gospel. What all God did just to get Jonah there. Think of what all God has used in your life to get you where you are. When you was going through that hard time and you didn't understand why God was allowing you to go through this hard time, why God was allowing you to go through this situation, and you struggled and you fought and you said, God, I don't understand. 5 years later, God knew what He was doing. You went through this situation, and 10 years down the road, you run across somebody that's going through the same thing that you went through. And you say, brother, let me tell you. I've been there. I've done that. I can relate with you. This is what God done for me. That's a testimony. Jonah is now in the belly of a fish that's swimming underwater. Now, I don't know if we grasp the idea of this. I'm kind of claustrophobic. I'm not a severe claustrophobic by no stretch, but a lot of times if we're somewhere I don't know if you ever noticed it, even if we're up here, if a lot of people get around me and I'm sitting and a lot of people standing around me, I get very, very uncomfortable. And I have to get up and walk around. We do that at home if we're having a family get together and a lot of families around me, it's getting loud around me or a lot of people's talking around me. I get really, really uncomfortable and I got to kind of get up and move around a little bit. That's how I can imagine. I don't know what the inside of the belly of a whale looks like, but I'm sure it was not a very comfortable place to be. And Jonah is in an impossible situation. Impossible. What else is he going to do? It ain't like he can knock on the door and say, hey, I'm coming out. He is stuck in an impossible situation. He has nowhere else to turn. No other way to go. He can't call a preacher. He can't call the deacons. He can't call his mama. He can't call his sister. He can't call his wife. He can't talk to nobody. He can't work. He can't run. He has got to face his situation. I like the way Dr. Jeremiah wrote this. He says, sometimes God loves us enough to put us in a corner where we have no alternative but Him. But the fact is, we never had another alternative but Him. He's always been the answer. It just took us going through a bunch of stuff to figure it out. So, the completeness of Jonah's impossible situation. And if you're in trouble, or you've gone through trouble, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you hadn't been in trouble, you're going to be, and this will help. First of all, his impossible situation affected him physically. Verse 2, he said, I cried by reason of mine affliction unto the Lord. If you look that word up, affliction, it is a physical thing. It's not a spiritual thing. It's not a mental thing. It's a physical thing. It's It's a physical word. He said, you have, I cried by reason of my, listen, he was scared. This man is about to die. This man is just waiting on the waters to rush in for something. He has no control anymore. He is about to die physically. And this man is scared. I've never been about to die, but I've been scared. I'm man enough to say it. Scared to the point that I was sick. I was so scared. And this man is physically scared. He said, I cried by reason. He said, listen, man, I don't know what else to do. I'm crying here, Lord. Not only did it affect him physically, but it affected him mentally. Now, I got these in this order just because it's in the book, but sometimes these orders get flipped around a little bit. Maybe what's going on in your life is a sickness. That's a physical thing. And if you've ever been sick or you've ever been hurt, and y'all know I've been struggling with my back for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. It will affect you mentally. It gets very, very frustrating to be at work and try to pull something you can't do with it. You have to stop and quit. Or when you try to get up out of a chair, Tammy will tell you, I try to get, my problem is not standing here. My problem is bending over and trying to get back up.
That's right.
Especially coming back up. That's what I can't do. And that is mentally aggravating. But sometimes it flip-flops. Sometimes you've got a mental problem. Sometimes you've got some things on your mind that you just can't, you're struggling with and you're fighting with. And when these things affect your mind, they affect you physically. You don't eat. You can't sleep. So all this kind of coincides with each other. And this man is physically scared. He's about to die. He is mentally upset. I went down to the bottoms of the mountains. The earth with her bars was about me. Man, he said, I'm at my wit's end, Lord. Can you hear the frustration? God, I don't know what else to do. I'm as low as you can go, brother. Man, Poochie said, I'm so low I have to look up to see the bottom. I'm low, God. I'm looking up. I don't know how much lower I can go. But it also affected him spiritually. And when the mentally and the physically starts affecting our lives, it will affect us spiritually. And it can affect us either way. Sometimes that mental and that physical anguish will draw us closer to the Lord. We'll start depending on the Lord. We'll start praying to the Lord. But most times it's just the opposite. We get mad at God. We get frustrated because God's not doing what we think God should do when we think God should do it. God, I've been going to church. Been to Sunday school every week. Hadn't missed a service. I went to the Men and Boys Fellowship, the Ladies' Prayer. I've been to all that stuff. Was at Vacation Bible School. Went out on visitation. I called 3 people this week and told them I missed them in church. And now here I am sick. I don't understand, God. Why am I sick when I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to do? We talked a little bit about this at work again this week. We talked a lot about our lesson and stuff. And I said, you know, sometimes, and I don't know how many times I've heard this. There have been a lot of times I have heard people say, I was so sick, and I questioned God. And then laying in that hospital, I had the opportunity to witness to somebody that was in that hospital. Or they may not even be sick, maybe it's somebody in their family that's sick. But God used the sickness of that family member to get you where He needed you to go so that you could talk to somebody that He needed you to talk to. Jonah said, then I said, I am cast out. God, don't you even see me? I sure can't feel you no more. Where are you at, God? I cried that. Many times I cried that. God, where are you at? Why can't I feel you anymore? Why can't I see you moving in my life anymore? What's going on, God? And a lot of the problem is God's been there all along. It's me that moved. It's me that went a different route. Listen, Jonah got what Jonah wanted. Did y'all get that? Jonah got what Jonah wanted. Remember what he done to begin with? He said he run from the presence of the Lord. And now that he got away, he's going, oh God, where are you at? I think of a little kid in the grocery store, and they want to go look at toys, they want to go look at this, they want to go look at that, and Mama says, no, you got to stay here with me, you got to stay here with me, and then they get away, and their whole goal is to get away from Mama and get to the toys, but then all of a sudden they turn around and Mama's not standing there, and panic arises. They start freaking out, oh Lord, where's Mama? That's how we are. We all about getting away from God, because God, man, he's that guilty conscience on us. I got a boy at our work right now who told me he was going to come to work or come to church with me. And I was inside. His fiance was talking to Tammy on Facebook. We talked a lot about the Bible and stuff, and he's got some problems with his daughters. And anyway, we talked about some different things. I said, go on YouTube and watch some of the services. He told a buddy, y'all heard me talk about Dusty, preacher's kid. And Dusty said he told him one day, and me and Dusty talked a lot when we worked right beside each other. Dusty said, I asked him, I said, I thought you was going to go to church over at Brother Marty's. He said, He said, they preach on hell and stuff over at that church. I ain't going over there. And Dusty said, well, ain't that what they supposed to preach on? He said, I don't like somebody just keep pointing their finger at me. And that's what he told the guy. And Dusty told me, because Dusty's a good Christian guy. He said, brother, he said, if a preacher don't preach about hell, he's doing you an injustice. But Jonah got what Jonah wanted. Jonah wanted to get away from God, now he is. And now he's in a panic. Oh, Lord, I got in it now. So how does he get out? Oh, I put this verse up here. And this is one of them verses. Yes, it is a prophetic verse from what Jesus Christ said on the cross. But that's not why David said it. David said, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? That's how David, a man after God's own heart, and he was saying this. Why art thou so far from helping me and from the words of my roll? Lord, I'm talking, I'm trying to pray, I'm trying to ask you stuff. You ain't in. What's going on, God? Where are you at? Jonah is in an impossible situation, and he's going, God, where are you? I was just kidding. I wasn't really trying to leave God. I was just playing. I was just fun with you. Where you at, God? Please don't leave me. So here's what Jonah prayed. Jonah prayed. If you want to take your Bibles and turn over to Revelation 2, we talked about this not too many weeks ago. Over in Revelation, when Jesus sent a letter to the church of Ephesus. Y'all remember that? We talked about that. We talked about they were an on-fire church. They were doing all the stuff that they were supposed to be doing. They were witnessing, they were testifying, they were singing, they were praising, they were had their evangelism team, they had everything going for them. But he said, I got one thing against you. He said, you lost your first love. So when we get in trouble and we lose our first love, and we lose that relationship, and we don't have that relationship that we once had, and we can't figure out where God is anymore. We can't figure out why our prayers ain't being answered, and we can't figure out why we ain't getting blessed like we used to. He says, here is the answer for that. He says, first of all, I want you to remember. 2:5, he said, remember therefore from whence thou art fallen. Remember where you was at when God saved you. C.T. Townsend, the pastor that done the Burlington Revival, sings a song. We're going to learn that song. I know it's kind of trivial, or not trivial, I ain't so trivial. It's not really one of these all-powerful musically songs. But he sings, and the title of it is, I'm not going to hell. Now I like that. That's enough to make you shout. If nothing else God does for me, I don't have to go to hell. If we remember that, that'll put a little spark in us. He says, remember where you used to be. And not just what you came out of, but what it was like when you found Him. You remember what it was like when you got saved? You remember the day you got saved and how you acted right after that? Man, you want to tell everybody. That boy come up there Friday night. He was excited, man. He come up there and he hugging everybody and just boo-hooing, crying, coming down the line. I bet probably didn't know half of them folk, but he was excited, man. God had saved him from hell. And you'll do some crazy stuff when you get saved. That boy, Friday night also was in there. They say, and I didn't hear nobody denying it, they say he was probably one of the meanest men in that area. They said he was a rough individual. Didn't like church, didn't want nothing to do with God, but he loved his mama. And his mama had sit in the same place for 50 years in church, and that is the only reason he came to church, because that's where his mama sit, and he done it in honor of his mother. And I'll repeat what I said the other week. It's sad that lost folk have more compassion than saved folk. And he come and he was sitting at revival in that same place every night in honor of his mom. And God got hold of him. And he got saved. And they were raising money for the tent. Y'all that's familiar with Burlington Revival know they buying a tent, purchasing a tent. And a businessman stood up and he said, I'm going to make the challenge. He said, I'm going to give $1,000 for my business for this tent. He said, I want 15 other business owners to do the same thing. And people start standing up and giving $1,000. One guy get $5,000. That old rough, tough, mean man stood up. He wasn't real eloquent. He didn't sound real educated. He said, preacher, he said, I ain't got $1,000 on me, but if you'll come in the morning, I'll bring it to you. God had changed his whole life around. The stuff that he thought was important before he got saved, man, that ain't nothing, man. This is what's important. And Jesus said, remember what that was like for you. Remember how you was when you got saved. The excitement you had and the thrills you had and the joy and the testimony. And man, you couldn't wait to get to church. I come an hour early just so I can talk to folks. Remember, Jonah prayed that same thing. He said, then I said, I am cast out of thy sight. Yet I will look again toward thy holy temple. He said, I remember what it was like back there at the church. I remember what it was like when I used to go to church and I used to worship and I used to praise. I remember what it was like when I used to feel the presence of God. And I used to see God moving. I remember when God used me to go down here and talk to these people. Remember, he's a prophet. He's a man of God. God's used him before, apparently. Because it says he was a prophet before he sent him out, remember? So he's already been used of God. And he said, man, I remember what it was like, God, when you was using me and I was doing your work. I remember that, God. I'm going to go back to that day again. I'm going to go back to when that was happening. But there's another part to the prayer. Revelation 2:5 again, he said, and repent. If you remember where you used to be and look where you are now, you'll repent. Jonah said, when my soul fainted within me, I remembered the Lord. And my prayer came in unto thee, the time to thy holy temple. He said, listen, I remember now. I remember, Lord. I remember what this was all about. It ain't about me. It ain't about what I want to do, God. It's about you. And if we can ever get that through our thick skulls, and I pointed mine because mine's probably thicker than anybody in here, don't you say a word over it. Or you either. This thick skull, it's my fault. It ain't the preacher's fault. It ain't the deacon's fault. It ain't my wife's fault. It ain't my mama's fault. It's my fault. That's why I'm not feeling the presence of God. That's why I'm not serving God the way I should. That's why I'm not doing the things of God. It's my fault. It ain't got nothing to do. Brother Charlie hurt my feelings. He said something about me. I'm just going to sit here in church like this for a second. I'm mad. If I worship him, then he got the best of me. And we come up with every excuse in the world to let somebody else affect how we serve God. And it ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's got to do with me. And if we'll ever get that through our minds, it's about me. I'm the reason I'm not serving God. I'm the reason I'm not feeling His presence. I'm the reason I'm not doing what I'm supposed to do. It ain't got nothing to do with nobody else. It's about me. If we'll get that through our heads, we'll repent. And that's hard to do. How was it he said that? I'm going to see if I can find it. Hey, I got my glasses on this morning. I've had time with this lesson, y'all. I ain't even looking at my book. I done gone past it. It's all right. Till we face up to it and say, I think this is my fault. No. I'm sure it's my fault. No. It is my fault. And I have done wrong. And I have violated what I know to be true. And oh God, forgive me. That's hard to do. It's hard to live in the belly of a whale too. I'd much rather say I'm sorry now, Lord, than have to go through what I have to go through to get there. Because God's going to get you where He wants you, regardless. And He said, return. Revelation 2:5, He said, and do the first works. I was reading some things and listening to a couple sermons and stuff about some of this stuff. One of the things the preacher was saying was, he was talking, it might have been David, I don't remember who it was I was listening to. He said he's had a lot of people, a lot of marriages that have problems. They come in for counseling and they'll say, preacher, I want my save my marriage. I don't want my marriage to go bad. I want my marriage to work. That's what I want to do, Lord. He'll say, well, what happened? I forgot how much I love this person. And I'm sorry, God. I'm sorry, preacher. I don't know what to do to save my marriage. He said, my thing is always the same. Go back to how it used to be. I don't feel the same way I used to, preacher. I didn't ask you if you felt that way. I said, go back and treat her like you did when you first met her. Go back and treat him like you did when you first met him. You do obedience, the feelings will come along with it. I don't feel like coming to church, preacher. You need to come anyway. I don't feel like witnessing to somebody. You need to come anyway. You do what God has told you to do, and those feelings will come along with it. You won't have to worry about whether you feel like doing it or whether you feel led, you just do what God's told you to do. Amen. Let the feelings come along with it. That's just like salvation. I have often wondered about the people that come to altars and have cried and booed because they were sorry for what they were doing. And they got up from crying with their little handkerchiefs and their little tissues, and they walked all the way back to a seat still on a road to hell. Because it's not just about being sorry for what you did. It's about making a change. And we don't like change. We don't like to mix things up. We like things to go straight. Just everything's perfect the way that it is. You come up here in the service, I guarantee you, I almost bet on it. Me and preacher get together this morning. We come up here flip-flop over to this service. We come up here and sing one song, the preacher get up and start preaching the sermon. And then we sing the choir and stuff. Somebody get mad. Because that ain't the way we're supposed to do it in here. Let's don't worry about all. Just do what God's told you to do. Let all this other stuff come as it goes. Jonah said, but I will sacrifice unto thee with the voice of thanksgiving, and I will pay that I have vowed. Now, you need to understand, nowadays vows don't mean a whole lot for them. I wish Eric was here, nephew Eric. I give him a good hard time. But his dad and his brother and them sitting here, they'll tell you, it's funny. One of his famous things is, and you know when he's lying, because they say, oh, I promise. I promise. That's his favorite words when he's in trouble. I promise. And knowing, you hold it around, I promise. That's what we do. We say stuff so half. Oh, Brother Chris, why don't you pray for him? Okay, I'll pray for you. And probably don't think nothing else about it. Maybe Chad said, Brother Marty, I got a problem, man. I wish you'd holler at me later on. And let's talk about it. Yeah, man, I will. And man, 2 months later, I still ain't going over and talk to Brother Chad. Our vows don't mean nothing. Back in them days, vows meant something. When you made a vow, man, that was stone. I'm going to hurry because I got to finish up. The intensity of Jonah's supplication. Real quick, I want to read this to you. This is somebody in Psalms, chapter 107. Y'all probably read that before. Listen to this, listen. Oh, give thanks to the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. Let the Redeemer of the Lord say so, whom he hath redeemed from the hand of the enemy. Now, this is going to be some people in here that's had some problems. And gathered them out of the lands, from the east, and from the west, and from the north, and from the south. They wandered in the wilderness in a solitary way. They found no city to dwell in. Okay? Now, here we go. Here's the first time. Hungry and thirsty, their soul fainted in them. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble. Okay, they're crying out, God, okay, God. And he delivered them out of their distresses. And he led them forth by the right way, that they might go to a city of habitation. That's the first time. They finally got it right. God took them to a city of habitation. Right? Let's go down to verse 13. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. He brought them out of darkness, and out of the shadow of death, and break their bonds, and said, finally, second chance. God give them a second chance. They straightened out. Everything's good now. We all right, right? Now, let's go down again. 19. Then they cried unto the Lord in their trouble, and he saved them out of their distresses. He sent his word and healed them and delivered them from their distress. Come on, God. 3 times now we don't have to save you. What's going on here? Surely 3 times is enough, right? They reeled to and fro and staggered like a drunken man, and at their wits' end. Y'all didn't know that was in the Bible, did you? At their wits' end? Let me have heard that before. Then they cried to the Lord in their trouble, and he bringeth them out of their distresses. 4 times, man. One book, one chapter. They've got in trouble and have had to pray. He maketh the storm to come, so that the waves thereof are stilled, and they are glad because they be quiet. And he bringeth them unto their desired haven. Look at verse 43. Whoso is wise and will observe these things, even they shall understand the loving kindness of the Lord. Pray. Remember where you came from. Repent and do what God called you to do from the beginning. Remember that excitement. Now I'm going to close with this because it don't really go over in these books. And next week, Brother James is going to be bringing the next lesson. Me and Tammy's going to be up in Tennessee, and her mom's going to go to church with us, and maybe her dad, and she's got a real burden for her mom and dad. We had a good little prayer Friday night about her mom and dad. Her dad made some comments that just talking about cremation, and I'll just tell you, he said, well, I'm going to burn anyway, might as well get ready for it. That'll hurt you, man. And so we're going to be spending Sunday up there with them and try to get them to go to church with us. And y'all pray. Y'all pray that God do something up there in that. The verse 10.
Yeah.
And the Lord spake unto the fish. I went too far. And it vomited out Jonah upon the dry land. Let me say this before we close. Some people might say that's kind of harsh. Can I say this? I love drama. I love visual arts. I love visual things that you can see. Y'all notice I like to use projectors and all that stuff when I do things. That's just me. That's what I like. And I'm looking at this story, and you might think it sounds kind of disgusting. This is good staging. This is good staging. You think about that Ninevite fisherman. And all of a sudden, here comes this whale up on the shore. And he vomits out this thing. His clothes are half digested. His hair and skin is bleached completely white from the gases in the whale's stomach. He's probably got a piece of half-chewed seaweed hanging out right here out of his mouth. And Jonah walks up and says, repent. You might think that's harsh. That was good staging. God got their attention real quick. Amen. Next week, we'll be in chapter 3, verse 1 and 2. Brother James is going to be doing it. I hope y'all be here. Just good. Talk about that second chance again. Talk about that second chance again. Amen. Brother Chris, won't you dismiss us? Sorry it took so long, y'all.